Lending do's and don'ts. What is a private lender? These are the different things I'm going to start covering. Okay, again, any questions that you have, feel free to go ahead and ask. Okay, definition of a private lender. Who can be a private lender? Do you need a license? Not necessarily. You can be licensed if you want. You don't necessarily have to be one. Okay, can you tell, like if you go to the Halloween party, are you going to be able to tell who a private lender is? No. Okay, there is everyday people. Okay, oftentimes they are not even doing this full time. They could be working a full-time job and be a private lender as well. This is one of the benefits of having your money work for you so you don't have to work for your money, what we call the trade time for money. Where does this money come from? So if you've been to our exchanger sessions, you basically know that we call out money in two forms. One is just regular cash, and the other one is IRA accounts. And this is not your Fidelity, Charles Schwab, E-Trade kind of accounts. You can pull some money out, do some deals, not the same way that we do it. Okay, these are self-directed IRAs. That's a marketing term. That's not an official kind of IRA account. IRA accounts will still be Roth accounts, traditional IRAs, things like HSAs, things like CISA, so Coverdell Educational Savings Account. So basically putting money in for kids, you can invest that into real estate, your health savings account that you can own. You start off with just a few $1,000s and your contribution over the entire year is still only a few $1,000s. It'll take you years to go ahead and build that up. Okay, and what are you going to invest in? Basically stuff like stocks, mutual funds, whatever they offer. Okay, you can transfer those funds over into a self-directed account, start doing things like lending, do other things like that. Combine your IRA accounts into a single deal or separate deals, whatever you want. Continue to grow the money that way. Okay, who understands what self-directed IRAs basically are? Okay, basically they come in two forms, right? So basically tax-free, tax-deferred. Which one do you think I prefer? Yeah, tax-free. Okay, why wouldn't I want to go ahead and start off with a certain amount and continue to grow it tax-free? A 401k, okay, I'm going a little bit off topic, but I think it's important for you guys to know this. 401k is a tax-deferred account. Okay, so there have been times when I've talked to people and they've told me, oh yeah, they've been saving all their lives from their jobs into a 401k. They have X amount of dollars and they're really happy with the amount in there. What's the problem with that? It's tax deferred. So when you wait until you separate, because that's when you can start pulling out from your 401k and you start taking money out, whether it's your choice or because you have to, because of required minimum distributions, you're going to start paying taxes on that. So while a 401k is oftentimes the only savings vehicle that people will use at the time, because it's tax deferred at the time that it goes in. Okay, most people don't do a Roth because that's post-tax money after taxes. So that means you have to take money that you have net and put that into the account. Okay, it's harder to go ahead and invest that way than it is with tax deferred money. Okay, so as I said, could be someone that works full time, could be people that you know. So where do you generally start off? With your own personal funds. If you're going to make any mistakes, use your own money first. If you're going to go ahead and do something later on, make sure people are comfortable, they recognize that there's going to be risks involved. What are the risks? Everything has risk. Okay, even a sure kind of deal, there's always going to be some kind of risk. This is why you're going to see some kind of return on it. Okay, now, the return that you get should be focused on the return of your capital, not on what you think that investment is going to be. In other words, don't chase yields. Don't look at the interest rate and, oh, this one is 9%. Oh, I'm going to skip that one because it's too low. Oh, this one is 12%. That was better than the 9%. Okay. I'm not going to teach you my 2-day class in 90 minutes here. Okay. I'm sorry. I see the disappointed faces. Okay. That's just not going to happen. All right. So someday I will teach that class again. Right now, nothing's in the works. Okay. Now, there also be networking events like here. So everyone who already raised their hand that they're a private lender, they must have done at least one deal. Okay. If that deal was good, you probably want to skip them because they haven't learned anything from that deal. Sound odd? Right? What do you learn from? Do you learn from your successes or do you learn from failures? Yeah, you really learn from the ones that you have problems with. Okay, and believe me, there's a lot of problems floating around at the moment. My own involvement on different things, I probably have like 3 to 5 people, yeah, probably closer to 5, that combined probably are in arrears of significant time and in some cases significant amounts, upwards of maybe $100,000. Okay, not for the faint of heart. And I didn't plan it that way, and unfortunately things happen, and we'll talk about that. And this is why I wanted to have this particular session, because I know a lot of people are doing lending, and that's a good thing for a club like ours, any association. You need to have that cash moving in order to get deals funded. And when the deals go through well and the returns come back, that allows you to go ahead and fund more deals, right? Everybody is making money. Everyone's growing each other, okay? We need to recognize that, yes, you need to do this lending correctly. So, how does a private lender basically do their deals? Okay, private lender is different from a loan mortgage originator, RMLO, mortgage loan originator. So instead of going through and, okay, show me your bank statements, let me have essentially your balance sheet. I want to know what your income is. I want to know what your debts are. I want to know your ability to repay this loan. Private lenders kind of do it differently. We look at the collateral, okay? And I know Steve is here. He's a private lender as well as a licensed lender as well, okay? You may see him shake his head. That's okay. You may see him nod. That's okay too. All right. If you have questions, you want to talk to someone who has a license, you can talk to Steve. All right. That was a subtle plug for you, by the way. Okay. Otherwise, talk to any little people who raise their hands. Okay. And they will also give you an idea of their experience of what a private lender cannot do, should not do, things like that. Everyone's experience is going to be a little bit different. I'm just going to share you actually some of what my experiences are, because otherwise we're going to be here for a lot longer. Okay, so very short way of getting the foundation of lending done. Yeah, we basically lend upon the collateral. If we like the collateral and we like the borrower as well, we will look further into this deal. But it's not just having that relationship only, okay, because if you look at the different pieces and you miss other pieces here, you are going to run into problems. And when I look back at the $100,000 that basically is there, I can identify specific steps that I either intentionally missed or unintentionally missed. So in other words, one particular case, someone that was a new member, basically needed a restart, had been a licensed lender previously, got laid off, didn't work for a while, had to work in another kind of job, let their license lapse. And I said, you know, our club could actually use a licensed person to go through and review our paperwork. and we might even be willing to pay a fee for doing something like that. Okay, and as long as the fee is reasonable, okay, and I didn't suggest any particular number, that could be something that would help them out because it's already in their wheelhouse. They already had a license for it previously. They had already done it for quite a few years. Should be easy, right? And with the membership and making sure their paperwork is done, and now stamp of approval from a loan originator, then yeah, we're doing good. Okay. I originally started off with loaning them a small amount of money. They asked for a little bit more, and I asked them why. And, okay, because the licensing and this time and other things. Okay, it sounds reasonable. Bumped it up. Okay, got the money. This is unsecured. Okay, so we're going to go through a definition of terms as well. So if there's something that you don't understand, feel free to go ahead and ask. So unsecured basically means there's no collateral against it. I'm taking a person's word that they will pay me back. Keep in mind, I'm talking about one of the problems, right? So what happened? They didn't pay me back. Yeah. So someone that basically had a very good relationship with another member of the club, I'm trying to help them out. I'm really doing the relationship based upon the person that I know, not this new person that I've just met. Okay? Mistake. Okay? I basically look at it that way. What does the deal look like? Okay? Typically what we do is for investors, we are going to do it in one of two categories. Ray. Oh, the usual thing. They ghosted me, said they couldn't pay, couldn't give reasons why, or said they could pay, didn't pay, and later on they couldn't pay, and then they said they could pay, and they didn't pay. Yeah, it's still going on now. Yes. It had nothing to do with the property. It was unsecured. It was a few $1,000s. So for a few $1,000s, and I was trying to get this person work. Okay, so I'm trying to get them to get their license back, and then with that license, then they could start reviewing paperwork for members of the club. That was my thought. Okay, again, I'm not a licensed originator, so I don't know. All right, but when I proposed that, because it didn't sound like he had any particular prospects at the time, I said, well, why don't you go ahead and do what you did before? Because it sounded like you have some experience and you've done it for a long time. You should be familiar with this. And if you're able to go and review the paperwork of the members of our club, you could help them out by making sure that the borrower is vetted properly, the paperwork is done correctly, all those different things that a licensed originator would do. Okay, and get paid a decent fee on top of that. Okay, and you do this at your leisure. So the difference is that you accept the work when you have time. You don't accept work when you don't have time. Okay, that's flexible for a lot of us. We wish we had opportunities like that. I was trying to make it to where it works in his favor. Okay, so I was going to loan him money to basically get him back on his feet. Right? Trying to help someone out. Okay? That is not listed as one of my things because later on I'm going to quiz you. When we go through a spin through of what typically people do in the lending process, I'm going to be positive that's going to be more than what you guys do right now. And I'm going to ask you, what are the issues that potentially got missed because you didn't have a more thorough checklist? Okay, and I won't give the number away right now, but it's going to be a lot more than what you think it might be. And I really want to get to that point to focus on that because I'm sure everyone will have more questions. But yeah, it was unsecured, so no collateral to go with. I'm basically going on his word that he would repay based upon my relationship with another person who sort of vouched for, but would not actually be like a co-signer for that person because I didn't think it would need to go that way, right? And so there's a lot of different things I could say. You should do this, you should this. And when you start putting it all together, it gets to be a lot. And you don't necessarily know what you don't know until it's at the point that you wish you did it, all right? But this is why I'm bringing up the story, and I'm glad you asked the question, because this is how you learn about different things. And this is how I can go ahead and share those details too. Ray, you had a quick question. Yeah, there's a personal guarantee too. Person owns nothing. Right? So I'm basically trying to bootstrap them, get them back on their feet. Okay. Yeah, it basically was, I promised to pay, which is exactly what a promissory note is. Okay. And when someone has those puppy dog eyes and things like that, and you're trying to help people, right? Some of you already know how I am. I will come up and say to you, how can I help you? Right? I learned this from my mentors as well. How can I help you? Okay. I helped someone. I got burned. It's basically as simple as that. Charlie. I know you. Yes. Yeah. Eventually you'll make up your own list. Do not loan with puppy dog eyes, right? Okay, and then co-sign if there's any doubt, find a co-signer. If there's any doubt, have the co-signer also provide collateral. There's a lot of different ways that after the fact you could figure it out and find ways to make the deal safer for a lender. And those of you who I have worked with as a lender know that I am on the side of the lender. I am not on the side of the borrower. Okay, although in this club, I will help out the borrowers too. But I want to make sure that the lenders are protected as much as possible. Again, this is why I'm teaching how to do the lending, not teaching how to do the borrowing. Okay, so what else do we do? All right, we fund investors. This is why we're all here. This is why we have membership here. For fix and flips, buy and holds. That generally is what we do. Okay, we don't fund people to go ahead and buy Bitcoin. We don't fund people to go ahead and buy Tesla stock or whatever the hot thing is right now. Okay, we use collateral that other people might not. So quick story, and again, like I said, each slide was supposed to be 3 minutes, and I know on this one I'm going way over already. Last year at our Ohio Summit, okay, they talk about what are the best deals of the year. And so you have a panel of people who basically volunteer that I think I had the best creative deal of the year, and they talk about why. So one person, and I tried to find the picture, I couldn't find it. You're not going to find a lot of pictures on this presentation because I wanted to keep it intentionally simple. Okay, and I wanted to make sure this was large enough for everyone to be able to see.